All right, hey, sorry guys, it took a little bit for the internet to my end. Um, we'll go ahead and get started since we're a little bit late and there's a decent amount of you guys in here. For those of you that are new to some of our live stream meetings, basically this gives us the ability for you to sit at home and to get information instead of driving all the way to First Baptist. And then having to go all the way home for maybe a 20 to 30-minute meeting. A couple things at the end of this, I will kind of upload just some highlights, especially things that are like times of when to be there, and maybe even some different links that I mentioned. And I'll kind of put that in the video notes so that way you can access them easily and quickly. And then as always, you can come back to this meeting to watch it later. So even though it's live now, it'll be up there for anybody that wants it later. And also, if you have any questions throughout, if you just type into the live chat, I'll kind of try and watch those. And even if I don't answer them immediately, it might be because I'm going to get to them later on. So a couple things, especially for those of you that may be new to CityWide. CityWide historically has been like a weekend Disciple Now style event where we've been in host homes around the city, divided up by grade and gender, and then we all come together across multiple churches for worship events in the morning and at night. So last year we kind of had the conversation, and we are making the transition this year to being at T-Bar-M, which is a camp just right outside of town. We'll be at Camp Travis. It's about 20 minutes from the church. And we'll be in cabins instead of host homes, and it's going to keep everybody on site the full time. So there's going to be a lot more chances for kids to interact with one another, a lot more things to just kind of do during rec time and things of that sort. And so we're really excited about that. We have a really great band coming out from Waco called More Than Sparrows. They're phenomenal. You can actually look them up on Spotify or your Apple Music or whatever streaming app you use if you want to listen to them leading up into that. And then I'll actually be speaking for us this weekend and doing all 3 of our sessions and teaching through that. So super excited about that. I think it's going to be something new. Sometimes new and change is scary, but I think it's going to be really good. I think it's going to be one of the better citywides that we've done, and hopefully it'll kind of set the pace for moving forward. The rest of this time, we're going to talk about a few things. We're going to talk about drop-off and pickup. We're going to talk about registration forms, meds. We'll talk a little bit about color and what to bring, and some different things of that sort so you know what to expect. So the first thing is the drop-off situation. So since we're out at T-Bar-M, that's kind of raised a lot of questions, and people have kind of wanted to know, well, where do we drop off at? How does that work? There will be 2 times that you can drop your student off at First Baptist Church in Marble Falls. That will be 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock on Friday. You will drop them off. When you're there, there will be a whole registration process, so please don't drop your kid and leave, because what you're going to want to do is you're going to walk in, you're going to check them in, and whoever's checking you in, it'll be one of our awesome youth ministry volunteers. We'll let you know if you're missing any paperwork, if you're missing any final payments. They'll give your student a colored wristband so they know what group they're in. They'll let them know what cabin they're supposed to go to when they get there. They're going to get all their information right there at check-in, and then they'll load their bags into the trailer. They'll then be taken by our drivers out to T-Bar-M. That'll be your last chance to kiss them, give them a hug, tell them that you love them. And then they'll be taken out to T-Bar-M, and they will be with us for the weekend. Make sure that they're either fed before or have something packed with them they can kind of eat on the way. Once they get there, they're going to have a little bit of free time before our first session and all that, but it kind of takes a while to shuttle back and forth. But it also keeps, hundreds of cars or whatever from being out on site. There's just not that kind of parking at T-Bar-M for them. So 5 or 6 o'clock, we didn't want to specify all middle school at 5 and all high school at 6 or anything like that, because you all have your own schedules and sometimes that can be difficult. But we should have enough spaces if we just kind of divide up as best as possible. If the 5 o'clock fills up, you can just hang out at the church. There'll be, the same stuff. There's the gym and stuff to hang out and play around, and you can wait for the 6 o'clock load in, and it won't be that big of an issue. So that'll be Friday. And then Sunday morning, we will shuttle back to the church. We'll be at the church for 9 o'clock for our normal share time that we do. And then we'll all have worship together at 10:30 at First Baptist Marble Falls. We would love for you to join you and your students. A really cool Sunday morning where they block off a whole section for our teenagers to just be able to worship. It's just a cool Sunday morning for our church family. That's just a little bit different. And so that's your drop off and that's your pickup. When you're there, some of you have asked when you registered through our registration link, when you registered online, you got an email in confirmation from that registration. In that email, there are 3 different forms that you should have gotten that you will need to have filled out. Some of you have already emailed those to me because you didn't know where to send them to, and we didn't say a lot about it, so we're going to kind of answer some of that in here. But there's 2 T-Bar-M forms, and then there's 1 liability release with First Baptist Marble Falls. You'll need to fill those out. I hate paperwork just as much as you. Usually Citywide is a very paperwork light event, but because we're doing it at camp this year, that's kind of increased the amount of paperwork. You can email those to me. You can bring those by the church office anytime this week, or you can just bring them at check-in on Friday when you bring your student. And we'll also have a bunch of extras too. If you forget yours or are missing any or lost your email, I would check your spam folders and things like that. But that should be in your confirmation email from when you registered. Those 3 forms. Again, that's 2 from T-Bar-M and 1 from First Baptist Church. So check those. Make sure that you have them with you, that you bring them with you, and our team will make sure that all that's taken care of, and that process goes as smoothly as humanly possible throughout that. A lot of people have asked colors. I know, man, every year we really want to get our colors out early, but we can't because color is kind of pendant on registration. If you're new to Citywide, our rec day on Saturday is split up and groups get flags and they get colors and they go all out and they get points for their teams and different stuff they can win. And we're actually going to even do some cool things with it this time that's going to get to be a little bit different where even it'll incorporate into late night. I know a lot of you like to get that early because you want to prep and you want to come together and plan some of that ahead of time, but we just can't because we have to wait till registration ends. And a lot of times we have a lot of last minute registrations tomorrow night. And so those numbers can change so drastically and we have to wait for those to assign colors to groups. I can promise you tomorrow when registration ends at 8 o'clock, we will immediately release colors because we'll go in and look at how some of the numbers have changed. And we'll release those to you through Remind and through Instagram and all the normal channels that we release those. And then you'll know what to pack for rec on Saturday. As well as this year, Friday night and Saturday night, we're going to have late night events. Friday night, we're going to play a huge camp-wide game of Capture the Flag, which will include your color and your actual physical flag that you have with you every year. And then we're playing a game called Capture the Counselor, which will be color incorporated on Saturday night too. So just bring as much of that gear as you can or as you want to wear. And we'll be giving away a bunch of different points and different things like that for the Citywide Trophy at the end of the weekend. And some different prizes as well that we've kind of worked out. So that's it on our colors. That's it on paperwork. That's it on time to arrive. The next thing is medication. Normally, we don't have your child check-in medication. They're responsible for their own medication. This year, we will have a nurse with us since we'll be out at camp, and you will turn in that medication during the check-in process. It'll be very similar to camp, just include it all in a baggie and when you're supposed to take it. And your child will be responsible for taking that medication on their own. So going to the nurse, making sure that they get it. One of the things that we're really big about in our student ministry is that by the time they're with us in youth ministry and they're going on events and stuff with us, they really need to know when they're supposed to take their own medication. And so it's really hard for our leaders to be keeping up with everything that they have to do, which is a ton of stuff that we ask of them. And then also to make sure that they're coming to each individual child and making sure that they've taken whatever they need to take. So just go over that with your student before they go. Our leaders may try their best if there's any kids that are taking certain things within their cabin, but I'm not going to hold our leaders accountable to that. That is for your teenager to make sure that they get taken what they need to take and that they report to the nurse when they need to report to the nurse. And so that'll be for them. Luckily, the nurses are, so it's not the same as camp where like we have some hard closing hours, and if you missed it, you're out of luck. It's our thing, and so they'll be able to go back and forth in reporting on that. That's medication. That's check-ins. That is arrival times and departures. That's your color groups. As far as what to bring, they'll be in cabins, but they will still need bedding. So whether that's sleeping bags or sheets and blankets, whether that is I don't know, just whatever that might be. You always bring a sleeping bag because I'm super simple like that. They need to have their toiletries, deodorant, middle school boys, deodorant, body wash, shampoo, toothpaste, toothbrush, all of those things. I would bring their rec clothes for Saturday and probably a change of clothes for later in the day because they'll be sweaty and gross. Maybe a rain jacket because there's a little bit of that on the horizon. We're kind of keeping an eye on that, but there's going to be a bunch of stuff to do, and it looks like it's going to be kind of scattered. They need to bring their Bible, a journal. We don't have a hard and fast cell phone policy where we say, don't bring your cell phones. We do ask they don't bring extra devices. There's really no need for iPads or a Nintendo Switch or anything like that. I always say, don't bring anything that you're afraid of getting stolen. Now, of course, we don't want anything to get stolen. But always know that anything can happen at any given time. And so we don't want to have a weekend ruined because someone brought their iPad and then their iPad got taken. We can solve that problem by just not bringing our iPad. As far as phones, we tell our college and young adult leaders that come in that they are able to, if phones become a distraction, specifically really during worship times and small group times, to give a student a warning and then to step in and say, hey, during this time, I'm going to ask for your phone. You can have it back after that. Because that's what we're there for. We're there to be able to worship together, that God would teach us something new in a totally different way than maybe he's taught us before, that we'd grow closer to him this weekend, whether we know God at all or whether we would say that we have a deep relationship with him. This weekend is about looking at that in a new light, with fresh eyes, in a way that he might speak to us differently. And that's really the heart of CityWide. There's a lot of fun stuff that's going to happen, but the best thing that will happen all weekend is the small group time and the worship time. And so we want to make sure that we protect that. And so have their Bibles, have notepads, have pens, to be able to take notes and be a part of that. If you are with a different church, I know that we're going to have some other different churches involved, and some of you are actually still going to be in cabins with First Baptist students and things like that. I am not offended if you want to obviously pick up your student when we get back to the church at 9 or at 10:30 to go back to your church to be a part of worship. I would love for you to be in worship with us if you don't have a church home somewhere else. But if you do and you want to pick up and go be a part of that as a family, we're not offended by that. We'd love for you to be a part of that. If you have Friday night, if you have volleyball or you're cheering or you're playing football at Faith Academy, we know that you have things Friday night and you're going to miss that 5 o'clock shuttle and that 6 o'clock shuttle. Just come out to camp late. You can come and drop your student off late. There will be a soft check-in for you guys there that's way less detailed for those few that will come late. And you can just drop your kid off and you'll be good to go. So don't think like, oh, my kid has something Friday, they can't go to CityWide. We don't want that for them. We totally allow them to come late. We don't really enjoy when people are just coming and going, and it really ruins the fluidity of the weekend. The weekend is designed to function as a whole, so we can, for just a short amount of time, be isolated and let God do some speaking to us. But we know that coming late is going to be a normal thing because teenagers are committed to a lot of things. Your families are committed to a lot of things. But we do try to protect that Saturday. I always try to put it this way. There's a million things that your kid is going to do all year long. CityWide is the one weekend that we ask for to protect and to make time to just come and spend time with God in a different way that's different than anything else that we do, that he might speak to them in a different way, and that it might actually change not just the lives of teenagers, but it would change the lives of adults that work with them, and it would actually change our community. Because what we know is that when teenagers' hearts change and their lives change and their habits change and their cultures change, then everything around that changes too. And so that's really what we want to see. That's what we want to see happen in our ministries and in our churches, and all of our churches in our area, and all of our ministries in our area, for all of our youth pastors and pastors. And so CityWide is just a chance that we get to serve them and do that and be a part of that. A couple things I will leave in the show notes for you. I'll go ahead and leave my email down there. If you have a question, you can email me. A lot of parents have my cell phone number. A lot of students have my cell phone number. I'm really easily accessible. You can get it from them if you need answers to anything, or you have a question, you can text me. I'm a little bit slower in response during CityWide week, but I try to do my best to get that to you guys. So if you have any personal questions that maybe you don't want to put in the chat or anything like that, you can send those to me and I can work through that. As a matter of fact, I think some of you have been texting me throughout this, and so I just want to double check Okay, cool. I wanted to double check and make sure that none of those were maybe questions directly to my phone for you guys. I'll put that in there. I'll put drop-off times. I'll put the address for Camp Travis so you can get that easily. And we'll also send some of that out on the Remind. If you are not on the Remind, we'll put the Remind code in there because we're going to put some stuff on there as well. Reminder, tomorrow night at the Loft, we will be all together at 6:45, middle school and high school. Registration does end at 8 o'clock tomorrow. We will have laptops up there for you to register at the Loft, for your friends to register at the Loft, for your kids' friends to register at the Loft. And we'll be taking those in. Every year, we shut registration down on Wednesday. If someone comes to me Thursday, here's what I always say. Our registration is shut down. If I can make a spot available, then I will, but I cannot guarantee it because we do have things that we deal with like capacities. And so that's just how our registration works, especially with cabins and things like that of the sort. Other than that, I think you've heard a little bit of the heart of CityWide, what to bring, what not to bring. Also, if you go to the original registration link, if you go to citywide.fun and click registration, there's a what to bring list in the details that I've already included in that. And so you can access that there as well. Included drop-off times, what to do with medication and all those things. Again, I'll leave it in a general profile under the show notes. If I haven't met you, I won't get to really meet you at check-in that night because I will already be at camp getting ready and prepping in that way. So if you want to come by the office just to meet me, since your kid will be with us this weekend, I totally understand that, and that's great. Or you can text me or give me a phone call sometime during the week, and we'll make that happen. But would love to meet you, especially if I get to regularly work with your teenager at the Loft. All of you parents who your kids go to the Loft, I hope that you know we have the best time with them. We love them. We hope that they enjoy their time with us, and that they are really growing in their relationship with the Lord as they spend time with us. That's the heart of what we do, not just to have fun games or do anything like that. As a matter of fact, a lot of times we do very little of that. We want to do a lot of teaching and worship in ways that help them grow in their relationship with the Lord. So thank you guys for taking a few minutes out of your night. Feel free to share the link with any parents who might have missed it or share it around. I'll throw it out there probably one more time tomorrow on the Remind for people that missed it. And contact me if you have any questions. We will see you this weekend at what we consider to be the best weekend of the year, CityWide 2019. Y'all have a good night.